Alright, so we've practiced how to find the solution of a system of equations by graphing it. We've practiced finding that solution by substitution and elimination. So now we need to be able to write these systems from word problems. So many times you're going to be asked to write a system of equations or inequalities when given a word problem. Okay, it's important to understand that the variables represent and how to set up the two equations. So while we work on this, we need to make sure we define our x and our y value and that we've in fact set up two equations that make sense. So the first step that we're going to do is you should always highlight your important information. Sounds very silly, but you really can't go wrong if you group those things together. After we've highlighted, we're going to define our variables. What do we want the x value to equal, and what do we want the y value to equal? Once we know what's important and we know what our variables mean, we're going to write that system of equations. Remember, a system of equations includes two equations, so you should always have two things written. We're then going to solve using any method. So you could solve by graphing, you could solve by substitution, or you could solve by elimination. Most oftentimes you'll solve these word problems by substitution or elimination. When I say check your answer, I want to make sure your answer makes sense. You don't necessarily have to substitute it back in the problem, but mentally check, does that make sense to my problem? And last but not least, our answer is an ordered pair, but we're going to make sure we know how to write a sentence, and we're going to write our answer as a sentence. Now, there's a few key things to remember when you write a system. One key thing is that when your word problem involves you creating an equation that's simply a sum, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be writing an equation that says x plus y equals blank. Okay. When you have a word problem that involves money, I want you to keep money with money with money. So you'll have your x amount of money, your y amount of money, and it should equal the total amount of money that you have. So let's practice just setting these word problems up. So flip this notes page over. So a few examples for you. Let's see if I can get this. Alright, now that I have my page aligned here, let's look at this and highlight some important information. You're selling tickets for a high school basketball game. Student tickets cost $3 and general admission is $5. We sold 350 tickets and we collect 1,450 of them. So my important information. The first piece is that student tickets were $3, general admission was $5, and I'm keeping money with money. We collected $1,450. The other important piece is how much or how many tickets I sold. So we've underlined the important information. We now want to define our variables. So I'm going to choose x and y. And it says how many of each type. So I'm going to need the number of student tickets and the number of general admission. I'm just going to abbreviate. So if I know that, I can write two equations. The first equation I'm going to write is a total. X plus y equals the total number of tickets that I have. Then my money equation, $3x plus $5y is equal to that 1,450. Now that we've set it up, you can solve this by any method. But let's just practice setting it up. So using this as an example, why don't you try setting up example number 2? Hopefully you pause the video because here's my answers. Again, I highlighted the important information. The cost of a shirt is money, the cost of pants is money, and I spent exactly that much money. Then I have a total number of items. I define my variables, the number of shirts and the number of pants, and those are my two equations. So example 1 and 2 are very similar. We had a total number of items bought and how much we spent. Example number 3 is an example of an order problem. Like when you go to a restaurant and you order something. Okay? So one order at an Italian bistro, I can get 2 plates of spaghetti and salad for that much money. That is one order. And next time I go, I could try to get 4 plates of spaghetti and 3 salads for this much money. And they want us to find the cost. So X is going to be equal to the cost is going to be, it's a dollar sign, the cost of spaghetti, and then Y is going to be the cost of salad. So in noticing what I underlined, my first order, I had 2 plates of spaghetti, 2X, and 1 salad, and that's going to cost me $27.50. I then had an order of 4 plates of spaghetti, 4X, plus 3 salads equals $59.50. So you have 2 examples of totals and money, and you have an example of an order problem. So what I would like for you to do to finish up your notes is I would like for you to complete these 3 questions. Just set them up. Can you complete these 3 questions? Good luck.